Hi, I'm Brian Eisenhower, and I'm sitting here with 4 top producing real estate agents that have all gotten together with me today. We want to talk a little bit about overcoming objections with regards to paying a full commission and how these 4 guys get it done, and gal, excuse me, get that done, and how they are able to ensure that they actually put enough money in their pocket to feed their family and run their successful businesses. So with that said, I want to chat with you guys. Tell me what's important to you guys when people do challenge your commissions and they want you to reduce your services and pay for less. What are some initial thoughts you guys have about that?
Well, as we talked about, the first thing right off the top of the head is to just say no. Just flat out. It's amazing how many people, if they ask at all, which I honestly don't get this objection a lot, but if they ask, to just say, I'm sorry, I can't do that, and leave that hanging. Sometimes the silence is just deafening and they will crack first because they're not professional negotiators. So they don't know what to say.
Right, I like that.
And don't be the first person to speak, because whoever talks first after you say no, they're the losers.
Right.
And expect it, because there's some people that are programmed because they saw it on TV that you have to ask, and you'll see them sitting there squirming, waiting for their point to talk, and they'll say, "So, do you reduce your commission?" You say no, and they're like, "Whew, got that."
Yeah, not too long
Yeah,
ago.
at least they asked.
They
That's
ask,
a good
they
point.
feel better.
Randy, you had a story about that.
Yeah.
You know, basically it comes down to the first person to blink, you know. So yeah, I had one here recently where it was, hey, would you reduce your commission? And I said, no, and just sat there and stared at him, and it felt like a minute. It was probably 10 seconds, but it felt like a minute, and I said, oh, okay. And you know, after staring at each other for that amount of time, they blinked first, and it got a little uncomfortable for a few seconds, but they agreed, and we moved on, and we didn't talk about it again.
You have to be ready to walk away too.
Right.
I think that's a big part. You have to hold that line, and you have to be ready to walk away to have that kind of confidence. And if you're ready to walk away, you almost never will have to. That's the thing. It just doesn't ever happen. It's the people that aren't ready that it happens to a lot. And if you don't hold the line there, you're going to have to keep holding the line all the way till closing. Whether it's repairs,
Right.
whether it's offers coming in, or even at the closing table, you're going to defend it all the way through if you give it up early on.
Right.
So I think that's crucial. Well, let's talk a little bit about, okay, what happens if they don't like no? What if they don't take no for an answer? Okay, so they say, well, yeah, but. So then they get into the yeah, but situation. Common objection? Well, I interviewed another agent and they were going to reduce their commission.
I always like to say, I'll say, well, hey, if that other agent is willing to reduce the money they feed and clothe their family with, then how strongly do you think they're going to negotiate on your behalf when it comes time to protect your money?
I think that's a great objection.
Right. That's a good one. I mean, the one that I typically would use is a little more direct, so you got to be able to say it. But you know, I just would say if the other agent said they would list it for 5%, I say, wow, that really surprises me, because you don't sound like the type of guy that would want a discounted agent, and I just didn't expect that you would.
Putting a little doubt in their mind. Another way to put a little doubt in their mind with this other agent is, well, I wonder what they're going to cut out of their services then. If they're going to cut their commission, they obviously aren't going to give you everything that you expect. So what are they not going to do for you that I'm going to do for you?
I like that.
Right.
Yeah. You are talking about like the biggest asset in their life. I mean, they start discounting the handling of that asset. That can actually trigger some due diligence issues in their own mind. I like that. Okay. Well, then I know a big one is, hey, I mean, I need to get a certain amount of money out of this sale to be able to buy the next house, to put my kids through college. I need more money, so could you cut your commission to help out with that?
You know, I just don't know how to discount what I do. Most agents, they'll just do the 3 P's of real estate. They'll put a sign in the yard, they'll put it in MLS, and they'll pray that it sells. And I do the 4th and 5th P, which is I prospect every day, buyers for my sellers, sellers for my buyers, and I price watch and communicate with the seller back on that.
I love that. I like it. Any other issues when they don't have money?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, we'll be sitting there and we're looking at the same net sheet and it's like, oh, you know, negative $6,000. You're like, yeah, can you reduce your commission? I'll be like, no, but we've got a couple options. You know, you can put the property up for rent. You could go get a loan from a family member, maybe give them interest, make it a win-win. or even go to a bank and try to get a hard money loan.
Just put the reality in front of them. I agree. I agree. That's kind of our job too, is to show them all their options. Okay, well, let's move ahead really quickly and let's talk about when they actually come back at you later, maybe not at the listing appointment, maybe when other offers come in and they're negotiating back and forth, or we start learning about repairs that need to be made.
Right, because I think most agents, they're ready for it at the initial listing presentation, but they get caught off guard when the offer comes in, because then they're not expecting the seller to come after their commission. So you really need to be prepared for it at that point too.
Yeah, so let's say, you know, hey, this offer's kind of low, I mean, we can go ahead and take it. Or these repairs, this is way too much, it's gonna cost us too much, would you be willing to help out with that? Could you cut your commission?
Well, I'm gonna divert that one by saying, well, you know, I can appreciate that, but my commissions are not a part of the negotiations in this deal. If you need more money, then let's raise the sales price and go back to the buyers and see if they'll take it.
Okay.
So I'm deflecting it.
Right.
I'm deflecting that question.
Because that's their negotiation.
Yeah.
not you.
Right,
Yeah,
that's you
I
earning your
agree.
money.
I agree. Any other ones? Any other thoughts on what happens, what might come you guys' way?
Maybe back to what Zach was saying earlier about.
Yeah, I kind of go back to the,
reality,
because
yeah.
most people that have already got to that point in sales mode, they are scared to death of renting, and that's usually what's next if they need to move. So I'll bring that back. Well, you know, we put it back on the buyers. If the buyers aren't going to take it, we stall out. And we're back to your three options. If you can rent it, we can wait around for another buyer, and go get a loan from a family member.
I think that's so important to show them the harsh reality of the other alternatives.
Or you can keep the house.
Yeah,
Stay there.
stay put, you know, not
And
move
they
on
don't-
with your life.
and they don't wanna do any of
Yeah.
But you know, if it really gets to a point where they're pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, you just gotta draw the line and just say, you know, look, I done my job, I did what you asked me to do, I brought you a buyer. And, you know, now we're negotiating these repairs, and what you're asking me to do is take maybe $1,000, $2,000 off of my family's table of, you know, how I feed and clothe my family. And so if you did your job and did it awesome, and then your boss came back to you and said, well, you know, you're just gonna have to take less, you know, how does that make you feel? I mean, would you want $1,000 cut out of your paycheck next week?
I like that. I like it put it in normal world terms. I like
Right.
that. Guys, hey, thank you so much for your time here with us today. I really appreciate that. And we'll see you next time.